I remember the moment I first saw a Leica. It was several years ago in front of the Leica display at the Sammy's Camera in Santa Barbara. I remember listening to the salesman go on about the otherworldly experience of using a Leica camera. His story, though a bit far-fetched, intrigued me. I think we can all agree that Leicas are beautiful cameras, and there's something alluring, if also anxiety-inducing, about the exorbitant cost and impressive build quality of these German-made cameras. After years of wondering just what it is that's so special about these cameras, I decided to rent one, just to see for myself if the shooting experience and image quality were enough to justify the cost of a Leica. So this lens is a little bit wider, so it'll be like more three quarters. Nice. I opted to go with the Leica Q2, a full-frame 47 megapixel camera with a 28mm 1.7 Summilux fixed lens, Leica's version of a point-and-shoot. Though admittedly, this might not be the best choice for a portrait photographer like myself, the Q series is intriguing with its compact size, autofocus capabilities, manual focusing experience, superior lens, and impressive sensor. And although it comes with an expensive price tag at $5,500, it's relatively affordable when you consider you're getting both a camera body and lens in the Leica ecosystem. In order to see if the camera was right for me, I set up a portrait photo shoot with my friend Alena. I decided to shoot with the Leica Q2, Fujifilm X-Pro3, Canon R6, and Canon AE1. My friend Max documented the entire process on my EOS C70. We started in my modest studio setup in my one-bedroom apartment. I was using a variety of lighting, including both constant light and strobes. So what is it like to actually use these cameras, and how do we decide which camera is right for us? The shooting experience of each is quite different. The R6 is a workhorse camera and is considerably easy and enjoyable to use. Beautiful. Take one step towards me. Yeah, that's perfect right there. That's great. The X-Pro3 offers a slower, more considered approach and seemingly endless amount of creativity with its JPEG functionality. Awesome. And can you open up a little more? Yep. Nice, nice. That's really great. The AE1 is the first film camera I ever used, and I love bringing it into the mix because I don't often shoot film. I was shooting today on Kodak Tri-X 400, which has quickly become one of my favorite film stocks. And give me just a slight angle. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Maybe just one more like that. 1, 2, 3. Cool. One noticeable difference between cameras is the available customization. Both the R6 and X-Pro3 offer a considerable amount of customization when it comes to the button layout, which is not so true of the Leica. Though I found the Leica fairly easy to use, I was a bit disappointed that the options for custom controls were limited. Also, the lack of scroll wheel or joystick on the back of the camera was a bit disappointing, as I find a D-pad a cumbersome solution to the camera's navigation. However, just holding this camera and using it is quite an enjoyable experience. The camera just feels right in the hands, and the leaf shutter is really special. As far as autofocus is concerned, on the R6 I'm constantly switching between single point and face tracking. The autofocus on the Canon almost never misses and is consistent across many lighting scenarios. I tried using face autofocus on the Leica and it worked for the majority of the time when shooting in even lighting conditions. However, I found that it was much less reliable than the Canon, especially in backlit situations. I eventually had to switch to single point and then complete manual focus because there were moments when I just couldn't get the autofocus to lock on. I was also shooting with a mix of single point and face autofocus on the X-Pro3, and while less reliable than the R6, it seemed more reliable than the Q2. So what about image quality? I felt that the Leica handled fairly well in both the studio and outdoor settings. Although the 28mm lens is a bit wide, it rendered the portraits beautifully, adding a gorgeous, almost elongated look without appearing distorted. As you get closer to your subject, the distortion becomes more obvious, but this is very manageable and all up to your own taste. The 1.7 aperture of the lens allowed for ample light in this indoor setting. I was very pleased with the look of the images. Compared with the Canon and especially the Fujifilm files, the Leica images trended more magenta in the skin tones, but the colors still looked quite nice straight out of the camera. I've heard it said that the X-Pro3 is the poor man's Leica, and I have to say that my camera held its own next to the Q2. I was shooting with the Kodachrome film recipe that I have featured here on the channel and was surprised by how much I enjoyed the JPEG images that came straight out of my X-Pro3. The image quality and colors were beautiful straight out of camera. I had forgotten just how nice the Fujifilm system is for studio portraiture. My overall impression was that the Leica images were considerably cleaner than the Fujifilm images, but there was something special about the Fujifilm files that really does mimic film. Combined with the fact that I was shooting JPEG images and the Kodachrome recipe slows down the camera quite a bit, using the X-Pro3 on this shoot was a very unique and enjoyable experience. As far as image quality is concerned, the R6 holds up remarkably well to the Leica, especially considering it has less than half of the megapixel count. I honestly found it difficult to distinguish between the images at times. Yes, the Leica files look beautiful and detailed, but I didn't find them to be any more interesting than the images shot on my R6. The resolution difference is certainly present, but at least for me, only obvious if you're actively looking for it. I can't say that I had a preference for one camera over the other during this shoot. We were able to capture beautiful moments on all of them. If you're deciding between one of these cameras, consider the kind of work you do, the way that you shoot, where you are in your journey, and what you can afford. There are seemingly endless amounts of options out there when it comes to pro-level cameras. Hopefully this video has helped bring you closer to finding yours, or has answered a question you had about one of these camera systems. Although the Leica experience and image quality is superb, the price, for me at least, wouldn't justify the system. However, using one of these cameras, if for a limited amount of time, has helped me to understand the allure, and I truly admire the photographers who shoot Leica. In many ways, I wish I was one of them, but I understand why I'm not. I'm extremely curious to know what you think. If you shoot Leica, let me know why. If you don't, what do you shoot? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching my comparison of the EF and RF 50mm 1.2L lenses from Canon. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I'd love to see you at the next video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Love is free.